Welcome to the Challenge Chronicles. I am Devin Jordan. Trace Armstrong is here. Rob McIntyre is here. It's all happening.
All I can say is it's about fucking time.
Before we dive into it, we wanted to give a shout out to a couple of our patrons, JC Reynolds and Erica Candice. Thank you for your support. We had a lot of patrons sign up this week after we released some previews. If you're on the fence about becoming a patron, just fucking do it. It's $4 a month. Helps the show out, makes things go easier. Let's get into tonight's action. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad.
No,
that's what I'll say. It was
an episode.
I would say it really picked up from elimination on. Thank God for Prescilla. Someone woke up and smelled the fucking roses. I wish she would have talked someone else into doing this much earlier on.
How about Tori and Ashley in the deliberation just explicitly telling them, and especially like she was one of the only ones to pick up on it. Like, what?
I thought that was mind blowing, dude. Like, what the fuck is Ashley doing? Or not Ashley, Tori, dude.
Well, both of them.
Why would you even just? I honestly, I can see where Ashley's coming from a little bit, where she just wants to try and keep everyone in line. But Tori, why would you even bring it up? You know what I mean? Why would you call out that if someone picks a veteran pair, at that point everyone's in jeopardy? Why even bring it up?
They're just bored, I guess. I really just don't. Yeah, man. It was so weird that they did that. I mean, again, it seemed like Prescilla was. It's hard to say because of how they move things around time wise, and it shouldn't be that hard to pick out, right?
Dude, so I have this. I was thinking about this. So, and this is slightly different than what I was thinking about. But if Amber B goes in, right? If she goes
what about Jeremiah, that? That was crazy.
Can you count the number of moves that would be a worse move in the history of the show on one hand?
Dario at Rivals 3. That's the other one.
No, I don't even I think it would have. It would have to be the worst. If she just puts herself. I mean, Jordan on Free Agents, I guess would be the other one.
She's in a good spot and no threat whatsoever.
She wants to go in because she and Berna have creative differences, basically.
I finally understand why the cast hates Amber B. I finally get it. I finally get it. Tonight we saw glimpses of why they're so annoyed with her.
I think you really did.
She was annoying as hell in the club, talking about, I'm here to represent Texas and I'm a champion.
There's also the entitlement too, that she's just I want Amber, I want Berna to go home so bad, I want to go do it myself. Send Prescilla or somebody to do it. It's just that was just ridiculous.
And the fact that they were calling out we don't care about last season stories. Apparently she talks a lot about last season stories. So I mean
Casey even calls her out after they talk at the club and says that everything that Amber B said was all talk, right? It was just her trying to probably...
her confessional, too. I mean, she looked more exasperated after that conversation than she did with Josh and Fessy after they had the fight last episode.
She's seeing her alliance turn stupid. That's really what happened. With Fessy gone, she's forced to work with Amber B, and it's you're sloppy, chick.
Was she just drinking and just feeling herself, you think? Or was this actually premeditated?
I think that's what it was. And I think the next morning, and I think we heard some people say this, and the next morning she was probably oh fuck, what did I say last night?
Yeah, very much so.
If Casey is frustrated with you, you're doing something wrong. You know what I mean? She's is she the most stable person in the house? Is there
if there was any person who you could have as a camp counselor working with 5-year-olds, it'd probably be her because she's been working with Josh, Fessy, and Amber for this whole time. She's used to dealing with the nonsense and keeping them on a level page. She just seemed done too. That was unbelievable when she was saying she was going to put herself in.
It is unreal. So I said the phrase earlier. I'm going to say it again. It's about fucking time. You know what we saw tonight? We actually saw an episode of the challenge tonight. We really finally saw it. We saw a halfway decent mission. Wasn't great.
I thought the mission was pretty good.
I actually really enjoyed the mission a lot.
It was all right.
We saw a lively deliberation. We saw some politics. We saw a halfway decent elimination. And we saw a rookie make a smart move for the first time in the whole game. It just was hey, I'm watching the challenge again. It's back.
Really. I mean, she looks like a Mensa member compared to the rest of these people that she was able to figure this out.
We need to start doing this. We need to start giving each episode a grade. All right. So 1 through 10, what do you give this episode?
It was a
Like
solid
a seven or eight.
I was thinking
Yeah,
7.
we can throw in well, you go if we go
Rookie scores
decimals
from both of you. Rookie scores.
like 7.7,
Yeah,
7.8.
you can give it fucking decimals.
All right, if I'm going to give a friggin' decimal to keep you happy, I would give it. I was leaning that it's closer toward an 8, so I'll go with 7.7. That's
If you want us to put in decimals, why don't you just say 1 to 100?
Let's not get too fancy here.
It doesn't matter.
Well, I know, but 1 to 10. Well, if you want us to have like that gradation
Because
scale, 1 to 100 is the same thing.
I feel like it's easier to like for people to like mentally process like 1 to 10 in the decimals as opposed to like 1 to 100.
It's the same thing.
So what do you give it?
I said 8.7.
8.
I'm not 7.8. 7.8. Excuse me. 7.8.
I was like, sweet Jesus.
Yeah, it wasn't that good, Rob. It wasn't that good yet. Okay, like we're showing progress.
I think this is a very good like bridge functional episode. Like it just moves. It keeps the stuff moving and just more fun stuff later.
Yeah.
I mean, Priscilla is like the MVP for the season.
Oh my gosh! So far, it has to be.
Like it was like King Arthur like pulling the sword out of like the stone and like waving it around in the air.
Yeah. Honestly, the MVP of this episode was Huey's ass not allowing him to get up the pole to make this move possible.
Dude, how
That's the point. Like what?
I had not noticed it, but the man has ass implants. Like the man literally has had Botox or ass implants, and it was impeding his progress.
That's hilarious. That was hilarious. I mean, it's funny too because usually they'll make stuff up like that, and it seems like it's not like it's not actually what got in the way. It really didn't seem like that was a big problem for him.
His ass was keeping him from being able to balance on the top step because if you looked at the pole very closely, I can't believe I just used ass and pole in the same sentence, but go with me here. As you went up the pole, the footholds disappeared on the top step. There was a wooden block nailed into the top one. So to keep your balance, there was like less room for you to balance. And so because his ass was closer to the pole, he legitimately could not like stay stable. So I noticed that like that little wooden block was the kryptonite for him in this particular.
I did think this was a pretty well designed elimination where they had them climb up together like that and then saw off the rope with their hand on the side. I thought that was very good.
Yep, very good. I agree.
Yeah, it's hard to say just because we only had their Huey and Amber's competition. It did seem like Jeremiah and Prescilla had a very good mindset of like and a good rhythm going up on it.
Yeah, they seemed like they did very well. The mission was very well designed, or the elimination was very very well designed. How close do you think it actually was? Do you think there was some chance that Huey and Berna were able to pull it off, or do you think that there was more time that it took to saw off the rope than the editors gave it credit for?
It's probably very difficult to saw off the rope, and it's really hard to see how far they got into doing it.
Yeah,
I mean, so it's possible they were better at it and just weren't able to get there in time.
I mean, obviously, I've never climbed a pole attached to somebody and had to do this, but in order to cut a rope quickly on something like that, you either need the blade needs to be super sharp, or you have to be able to put a lot of tension on the rope. Yeah. Considering that you've got two people of unequal height trying to balance, there's no way they were getting the like best tension on the rope at all times to do it quickly. So I actually think this was really difficult considering what they had to do up there.
Yeah, no, I mean this was a pretty decent episode. Like I'll say that.
Yeah. I think with the mission, I would have preferred 2 heats instead of 3. Would be the only thing.
I mean, you read my fucking mind. Like that was my big criticism. Like in my notes, I think I'm looking at it right now in bold. I wish they could have figured out a way to do this in 2 heats. Like
it's just probably too much money, right? On the little carbs.
I don't think so. I don't think it's money. I think it's like probably like logistics, but like figure it out. Like you can do it, especially when it comes to like the overall quality of the show. Because guess how much in runtime that took?
Oh, it was like 24 minutes. It was a lot. It's 24 minutes or so, right?
32.
32.
32 is a lot.
32 minutes in runtime.
All right, so I will say this about the elimination, or not the elimination, the daily. It didn't feel that long because I actually was engaged with what was happening because I was able to focus on 4 teams at a time versus like 2. So it felt like they edited it well in that it might have taken up a lot of time, but it didn't feel like it drug like other ones have. Maybe I just have Stockholm syndrome from these earlier episodes, but this really didn't feel like 32 minutes. So I give them props for that. I will rip them where they deserve it. If you're going to do a 32-minute daily, it didn't feel like it was 32 minutes watching it.
My only thing is that after Berna and Huey didn't win their heat, then it was just like, all right,
Yeah.
this is just potato.
It's a waste of time.
It was all the same. But
There was a moment, I think it was during the mission, where I thought to myself, I was like, man, what I would give for Huey to win this season somehow. Because like if like he wins this season, if he was able to win the season, like imagine what it would have taken for him to actually be able to do it, and how
A lot.
entertaining that would be. You know what I mean?
I think we say that, but I think it would be a meltdown of like just things happening like it'd be like a lot of Giants falling in unsatisfying fashion, like a lot of DQs and injuries, and somebody's hand happened to hit somebody else, and then they're off for physical contact and stuff. Like
the only way that I think Huey was winning this season is if somehow Laurel was on it and Laurel just put him on her back and carried him to the finish line.
He's just not capable of it. He's just like too mentally unhinged. You know, like I
That's
don't
part of
think
it.
he can stay like focused long enough to be able to go from start to finish. So another thing about the mission was, what the fuck is CT doing? Like, why would you want to win this? I don't get this at all for him. Like, what's the point? Like, it's like what?
I don't know.
Like it just literally makes no sense to me whatsoever.
But what's the issue in winning it?
You just put a bigger target on your back. Everyone's like, man, look at CT.
Dude, people, it's CT, man. People know it's CT.
You don't want to make it any worse, though. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't think it's any bigger target on his back. And he seems like he likes Emmy. So maybe he doesn't want to get taken by Berna again.
I mean, if I'm CT, I'm looking at who was faster in the previous heats, and Josh and Ashley were the fastest, I think. So I don't necessarily know that I want to put the game in Josh's hands, or Ashley's hands for that matter. I think that if I'm
they're not.
If a vet's got to win, I would rather it be me than Ashley and Josh at this point.
I don't think they're shaking up the apple cart at all. I think that they are playing as chalk as it gets.
Like, Ashley seemed furious when like the status quo was disrupted. She seemed like incensed.
Oh, she was not happy with it. They're like all saying Priscilla's getting thrown in now immediately. Josh, sorry about your luck, bud, but we're just not having it with her because she foiled our dastardly plan. Like it's.
I mean, but they also told her to fucking do it in the deliberation. Like Tori, like gave her the keys to the kingdom, and then Ashley puts out like a warning. Like
is that really what we need? Is like I know we always complain about people like not knowing what they're doing and not knowing what's up. Do we just need more moronic gameplay to actually like have things happen? Because the two biggest things for this episode are Tori / Ashley tipping off that Priscilla can just take a vet team, and then their plans are foiled.
Here's the idea.
She was going to do that regardless. Like, the biggest thing from this episode was Priscilla making the right fucking move. And, like, taking someone who's a veteran pair. That's the biggest move. And that's the smart move. And we haven't had anyone that was able to wake up and smell the fucking roses.
The thing is, too, it seemed like she was almost, like, they only show us a certain amount, but it seemed like she was the only person who caught on to it, too, even still.
Yeah, like, I mean, honestly, like, I feel like it's the, like, end of some war movie right now, and, like, the soldiers are marching down the streets, and people are, like, throwing flowers on them. This is, like, Priscilla's walking down the street, and, like, I'm, like, reaching into the basket, like, throwing it out. Like, thank fucking God this is over.
I mean, it really felt like with this Veterans Alliance, it was like winter is coming from Game of Thrones. We just keep hearing about this coming winter sometime in the future that took forever to actually, come about.
Yeah.
Well, it's definitely here now, and that trailer showed that shit's about to go down, so I'm in. Like, at this point, they finally hooked me that we might have a good season on our hands, because we still have one episode over halfway, so one more episode, we're halfway. If the second half of this season is blow away good, then they can successfully put a feather in their cap that, yeah, the first half was a little rough, but it led to some fireworks. So, I mean, at this point, how do these alliances start actually going after each other?
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. So, yeah, what do we think happens next week? Right? Like, we saw some tension with Corey.
Stuff with Corey.
Someone was accusing him of working with Jeremiah in the mission.
Yeah, well, we'll see where it goes. I still stand by that. I think CT. I think he's just too out there. Like I can't see somebody with his target level not having the guns turned on him pretty early.
I don't know. It'll be interesting. Like, it really doesn't. Like, we haven't got. The issue is though that like we haven't gotten any hint whatsoever of who's in jeopardy from the veteran side, and I really wish from like a storytelling and like a narrative perspective, an editing perspective, they would just have started to plant the seeds a little bit. Like, give us some idea of what's going on within like that veteran faction of who's really in a good spot, who's on the fringes. Like, start to like lead us into that, because that's really what matters. Because we know that none of these rookies have a fucking chance. Like, that have gone home. You know what I mean? Like, there's no reason to like try and build them up. You know what I mean? They're completely inconsequential when it comes to the end of the game.
Well, it's possible there just wasn't that much scheming going on to this point.
Come on, Rob. Like, do you actually believe that? You don't think they're talking about who's like at the low man of the totem pole for the veterans?
I think there's a couple people who probably are, but I don't think it's that extensive.
They all are, Rob. Like, these people are professional schemers. Like, this is what
I would dispute that notion. We have seen many decisions in the past, or lead us to believe that their scheming capabilities are not always like 100%. I'm sure Devin's like talking to people. Amanda and Ashley are probably talking to people, but I think I don't know. I think perhaps it hasn't been like I think if people would avoid doing that, because once they hear some scheming going on, then they're worried about having the apple cart get upset early and then them being on the bottom of it.
I think they're still having like individual conversations. Like, I think every single person in the back of their mind is like, all right, if a veteran has to go in, this is who I want to go in. Like, I think that's like
for sure.
Everyone's mindset.
For sure. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see too if these vet pairs still have kind of a leg up on the vet rookie ones. Like, are Amanda and Kyle in a little bit better of a position just because they have two vets and not one inconsequential rookie?
I don't think it matters. Like, I think at this point, now that the vet truce is officially over, you just got to start playing your game to the best of your ability to win. Like, the best way to win is to now get rid of big threats. So if I'm Devin, you're damn right I'm thinking about throwing in Nelson and Corey.
Why are Nelson and Corey your biggest worry right now?
I mean, CT is your biggest worry, but you have to be very strategic on it.
He's
You
supposed
have
to be
to
working
have.
with CT though. Like, that's
But
what
he's
we
supposed to be
heard.
working with Devin and Josh. I mean, with Nelson and Josh too.
I don't know
Kyle.
if you know that he's working with Nelson,
Why do we think he's working with CT so much?
because we've heard that in other podcasts that Kyle CT.
Well, we've heard he's working with.
Alliance.
We know he's friends with Nelson outside the show, and has talked about working with him too.
I don't know if we've heard it all. Like, I don't know if I've heard anywhere that he's working with Nelson.
I would be very surprised if push comes to shove if he's not favoring Nelson over CT. He just has always seemed self-aware in that he knows, like, if he goes to the end with CT, he's had a much worse chance of winning.
Yeah, but there's a way for him to like get there though.
I think CT is just going in until he has a J situation and he loses.
I don't think
just
that's
don't.
going to happen. I really don't think that's. So you think at some point it's going to get to be where like CT's repeatedly thrown in until he goes home?
I mean, maybe not repeatedly, but he'll definitely be in the bottom of the totem pole quickly.
Okay, because that's different than what you were saying. Like,
But you don't think it's going to turn to whoever wins just gets put back in? Like, somebody's on the bottom of the totem pole and that's it?
I don't know. I would need to think about it. I don't think that that's going to happen to CT though, because CT is going to be strong enough to actually have the possibility that he wins a daily, right?
And sure. Really, if he's able to do that, then that's one thing.
And that's really like what we've historically seen happen on the show, right? The people that are strong and have the potential to win dailies, those are the ones that align together and form a strong coalition at the top. Like, throughout the history of the show, that's how we've seen it work.
But that's a while ago, and we haven't seen many in a house vote season like this without skulls. I just think as a house you get together and like if you can pick one person to go on, the worst person or the best person, and you're just voting as a group, like you're not going to be individually responsible for it, then just keep putting the best ones in.
I don't think it's going to happen, Rob, because
that's not going to happen.
Everyone is ruled by fear. Like, we've been over this before. Like, it's been a while, but we've been over this. Everyone is ruled by fear, and everyone like won't vote for CT because they don't want to be the ones that fucking go in against him. You know what I mean? Like, no one wants to do that. So like, unless they like know that like someone else is going to be the one that is like in line to go against him, I can't see it.
Well, the thing is, usually you have a decent idea if you're safe or not from the person who's won the mission. Because like if Nelson knows if Corey wins, then he's going to be okay. He doesn't have to worry about CT coming back for him. Same thing with like if Ashley wins, Amanda knows she's fine. Like you have certain people who you're fine. You also people don't hide their targets that much on the challenge. Usually it's pretty open who they dislike in the house. So unless if you're that one or those one or two people, like I don't see why you wouldn't be. Like I think everybody else would just assume that they'll be okay and then voting in the bigger threats.
So let's look down the line right now. Like who do we think is going in next week? Do we have any ideas? Do we have any guesses?
So
I mean, if I had to guess, there's going to be a rookie male in there. Like it's happening. So you're going to have a rookie male and a vet male. I think Jeremiah or is there any other rookie males left?
You're saying a rookie male and rookie female as like the two picked?
Yeah. Like there's going to yeah, I think there's going to be a rookie male for sure picked by the winner unless they make a power move.
Yeah, I could see that. Unless they really start to go guns blazing, which, I mean, this is the time to like pull some of these rookies to the side and be like, let's fucking go. Like, you know what I mean? Like, let's make something happen. Like, if you think you're at the bottom of the rookie, or excuse me, of the veteran alliance, like, why don't you do that?
Yep.
I mean, I don't know if it'll be CT yet. I'm trying to look at this list though and see who else it would be.
At the same time, though, it might be too soon for that, right? It's still only episode 9. We have, 10 more episodes after that?
Well, who do we think? Like, somebody has to go of the vets. Somebody has to be voted in.
Who's Big T's partner?
She's with Nelson.
Who's Amber B's partner now?
She's with Devin. Like, I think they're both fine. That's the thing that's funny with how this worked out because they were the two that seemed more on the outs, and now they're both with people that are connected enough. I'd be surprised if they're voted in.
So, I mean, yeah, let's go down the list. So, Nelson's going to be fine. Kyle's going to be fine. Josh is going to be fine. Devin's fine. I mean, they put it out there. It really might be Corey. Because who's Corey's partner? Bettina? Yeah, like, I mean...
Maybe...
It doesn't seem like too many people are going to get hurt here. I know this.
No, they're not going to care about her. It's all about him if he just has enough to stick around.
I mean, here's the big question with Corey. Aside from Nelson, who's he really working with? Like, we haven't seen shit from him in terms of...
Yeah, like, he's been friends with, like, Ashley and Tori in the past, but we haven't seen that much that they'd be that locked in right now.
I mean, I think we can kind of say the same thing for Nelson, too, right? That, like... We assume that he's working with all of these people, but like the amount that we've actually seen on screen that like they're working together, like what have we seen?
Yeah, but like you said, we haven't seen that much of certain factions of the vets working with other factions of the vets that much. Like we haven't seen Amanda and Ashley scheme together that much so far. Are we saying they're not working together? I'd be very surprised with that.
We've seen some of it though. That's what I'm saying. Like I don't know if we.
Amanda and Ashley when?
At the very start of the season. The very start of the season when they were like outside of the like house. That's what I mean, though. Like, we haven't seen fucking jack shit from Nelson.
Well, it's like they're actually like real friends outside of the show, though.
It's still what they're telling you is like part of their story. Like, we haven't seen it. You know, like
I know.
I don't know. So I think that could be it. Like, I think that's a real easy like group for people to throw in and rally behind. And I feel like we probably. I think we may have even said that before.
I think Ashley and Ed might be a bigger risk of going in than Corey and Bettina.
I think Ashley should be like happy for that partnership too. Like, I mean, there's definitely worse partners that she could have gotten. Like, that's
I mean, they'll be good, but she's not giving him any political leverage.
Yeah, but like, how much? Yeah, but it's interesting that we say that though, because I don't think we thought that Tori was in a worse position than Ashley. The same position as Ashley before they changed the partners, you know?
I mean, I think in terms of just social standing, I would have thought she was better with Josh than now. Like, she would have been in a better spot with Josh than Tori would have been with Ed.
Yeah.
I think she'd be in more trouble than Corey. I still think CT might be the pick just because he's got Emmy. And, like, I know we've heard about him, Devin, and Kyle working. That's only 3 people. And then I just can't, like, if you're Nelson and Corey, like, Corey just lost a final to him. Nelson and Corey both lost a final to him earlier.
Have we ever seen Corey and Nelson like pull off a really like savvy political move like that, where they like
well,
show
so we have. I mean, last season
where they
Cam was
where they
definitely the
show
ring.
any foresight whatsoever.
Well, so last season Cam was definitely the ringleader, but they were very much in with her on voting in West and CT and Ashley and Early.
I mean, I think that's all Cam.
I mean, it's very much majority Cam. Like, I'm not disagreeing with that at all. I mean, Nelson pulled one over on Corey on Invasion when he got him and Shane to both pull the same way, and then he won the Bloodbath elimination.
All right, what did we think of the nomination? That's definitely when the episode started to pick up, at least for me.
I mean, quite frankly, I thought it was easily the best one of the season. Like, no question, right?
And we had that. Just Huey and Ashley freaking out at each other because Huey voted for himself. I thought that was another highlight for me. Oh, and when Kells was dunking on Josh at the beginning of this season. I mean, that would definitely be number one for me, just to see somebody's political shenanigans get thrown back in their face like that.
Okay.
Yeah, but it definitely was interesting to sort of see where the house kind of fell on the Berna versus Amber debate. It seemed like more people were actually siding with Berna instead of Amber, which was interesting considering she was the bet in the discussion.
Yeah, I mean, look, we kind of hinted at it earlier, but it's like I kind of understand why people don't like Amber in the house. Like, I don't know what the heck she was thinking. I know she was probably drinking and spouting off at the club, but I cannot fathom why in a non-skull season you would want to go in elimination. Like, what are you thinking? Like, obviously not thinking is the correct answer, but and then she gets in the deliberation and she was really annoying. So like I'm starting to get it. I'm really starting to track with this cast.
I mean, I think something that was promising for me tonight is that at least Bettina and Prescilla showed moments that they were like somewhat competent, right? So when Amber B goes to speak with Bettina and talks about how she may want to go in the next day, Bettina was like, "You know what? I think that's really great of you." She like tries to like talk
really
about
great thing for you to do.
it, like how much she admires Amber B for wanting to do that.
The ability to like understand when you're in a position where somebody can like take your spot in elimination and really pump them up to do that, I think is a really underrated challenge skill.
Yeah.
Like to really there's one that always sticks out to me on War of the Worlds 1. Georgia and West like make a like basically just West sort of look, if I don't throw you in this week, don't throw me in next week, and they say it's fine. And Devon goes up to Georgia and it's like West is like Rumpelstiltskin. If you make a deal with him, he will like take your baby or whatever. And then Georgia goes back and is like West deals off yada yada, and then she gets put in instead of Devon.
Yep.
So I always think that's like something people really need to like be good at when they're going on the show.
Yeah, earlier when my connection was really bad compared to where we are now, one of the things I wanted to say is like, what they really need on a season like this where you've got all these rookies? You just need to have Wes set up with like a satellite feed and let him like watch.
Phone a friend.
Yeah, and basically allow these rookies to like do the Island of the Idols thing. Like you're gonna go get advice from Wes on the Skype or something.
And that wouldn't be a bad move for them to do, especially because like when a show like the thing is when a show like Survivor does it, it's like all right, they're gonna go see Cochran, who's like on 2 seasons, like whatever. But for the challenge, I mean, you could go Wes, Johnny, like Corals, but like these people have had like actual like seasons upon seasons of knowledge to give off.
When they did it with Survivor, it was Boston Rob. He's been on, 5 seasons?
Wasn't there one where somebody won a mission, they got to go see Cochran on a boat?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
that definitely happened.
That was one mission.
Well, I'm just saying, like, it's just like...
I don't know. I think that's a good idea. I think if they did it...
I think that is a pretty good idea.
If they did it with Johnny and Wes, I think that, like, especially in a season like this where it's all rookies, right? And, like, somehow, like, maybe they could even set it up so that it's like guaranteed that the rookies get advice. They're able to like go and speak with them whenever. I think that would be really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, you could do it with. I also think it'd be an interesting way to work in a veteran in an easy way into the show. Like you can just have Coral like Skype in and talk with them because it's just a Skype call. You can just pay throw her not what she's asking for a whole season, just some part of the budget to do that.
Yeah,
I think that's a very good idea, Trace.
I mean, why wouldn't you? Because it allows you to bring back older cast members. They're able to be a part of the show without going on location. And all you need to do is email them a few clips from the last few days. Like they have the raw footage. It's all digitized. So just say, Here's 30 minutes of footage. Watch it and talk to this rookie. Okay, here's $5,000. Done.
Like if you just even saw in the previews for next week that somehow Coral and Timmy were involved, like how pumped would you be for next week's episode?
DEFCON 5.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes, completely. And that's why I'm like, they will never do it because it's too good of an idea.
I think they might buy into something like that, Trace. Like I could see, especially because Wes is saying now he's not going to be able to come back and do a season, even though he seems like he's in great shape. Right
He
now.
really does. I know that he's got a lot of exciting opportunities outside of the challenge that are probably paying him more money long term, which is why he's not doing the show. But like, he looks like he's in the best shape of his life.
We just need Johnny to keep flaunting his like 7 rings in front of his face, and so Wes can get that hunger to come back and get one. Because he's only one of those guys who hasn't come back and gotten one now.
Yeah, well, now that Johnny's single, you never know. I think he might be back sooner than we think.
I mean, maybe so. He's still got a bunch of other stuff going on, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But either way.
So something else interesting going on earlier. Do you think this like Emmanuel Tori thing is going to turn into something? Because they've really been pumping this up.
Otherwise, they wouldn't show it to us. It's definitely going to turn into something.
Well,
but you think by turning into something, is it just going to be them hooking up, or is it going to actually be like a house-wide thing?
What do you mean house-wide?
Oh, they're hooking up. That's all this is. I mean,
well, like is Tori like going to protect Emmanuel now, and then they're like having he's like.
Not.
I mean, Emmanuel, it's so funny based on like his haircut and everything in the last.
I was saying this. He's like when mom tells you you have Jordan at home. That's Emmanuel.
I was like, he's Kmart Jordan. That's who he is.
Yeah, I feel like he's leaning into the vampire thing too. He's got the necklace game going on. I think he's been good.
He had a great quote too in the episode. Like, if you pick Casey, I'll like drink your blood or something like that. Like he was like, I know you like your blood, and if you take my partner, I'm going to drink it or something is what he said. I can't remember.
I mean, the best quote of the episode was definitely when Amanda asked if Kyle had some brains behind that Botox before they started the puzzle.
That was pretty good.
That had to be cracking up.
Dude, I thought there was that really good moment too when they were doing the puzzle. And Corey talked about how funny was that? But Corey talked about how he was just going to let Bettina like take care of it.
Yeah.
And Bettina said she heard a rumor that Corey wasn't very good at puzzles, which is like the understatement of the century. And I loved how like Bettina like threw it together real quick and was like, check! And TJ was like, not even close.
Yeah. You know what though? That was a smart move on her part though. If Corey's that bad at puzzles, you're better off just throwing shit on there and seeing if you get lucky.
I mean, it really is. I always wonder like, who's checking the puzzle? It's not just TJ, right?
No, there's another producer.
There's got to be a PA there.
You know, I think that I know that we don't want to try to mix Survivor and the challenge too much here, but like after seeing that long shot of how many people are on location shooting Survivor, you would imagine there's like 10 or 20 other people there between cameramen, producers. Like,
well, imagine how many people it takes to get that yacht they had for the mission.
Yeah, true. Or how many people to rig it? Like, you've got riggers, you've got production people, you've got audio people, you've got cameramen. Like, there's a lot of people that you can't see on screen. So like there's TJ's just get it. He's just looking at like a judge and waiting for a nod or a shake of the head. There's no way.
What was the point of the yacht in the mission? It kept confusing me that it was there.
Pretty much nothing. Like
it was just there, right? They didn't even go on it.
There's literally no point of the yacht.
How much did it cost?
Maybe that's where TJ's staying for the length of the show.
Rob, you could probably get that for way cheaper than you think.
It's
like they just needed it for
if they didn't do it for anything, because they paid more than $5 for it, I'd say it's a waste of money.
Dude, like they didn't even need to go on the yacht at any point in time.
No, it was just there.
It was literally there so that they had to climb up. That's it.
So you brought up Survivor. I got a message from my friend who got into the challenge as of War of the Worlds 2 and has been super into the show. And this week he texts me and says that he's watching Survivor when the challenge is on instead of the challenge.
Mm-hmm.
How many people do we think this is happening to?
Well, you know what's really interesting?
And he hasn't watched Survivor, he said, in years. So and this is when we were roommates together, he didn't even watch Survivor. So he probably hasn't seen Survivor in 18 years or something.
I mean, it's going to be enough, right?
Yeah. Well, that was what was interesting to me. If you went on the challenge subreddit today, they put up the same poll. were you watching Survivor or Challenge? And 35% of the audience said Survivor. So they're losing, of the hardcore fans on the subreddit, 35% to Survivor.
If you're on the subreddit, you're hardcore.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
There's like 50,000 people, I think,
80,
maybe
000.
more now. There's 80,000.
Yeah.
So granted, we're talking a sample size of, I think there was 1,200 responses last I checked. You'd probably have to check me on. It's probably higher than it was when I saw it at 5 o'clock this afternoon. But like 35%, man, that's a lot of people choosing to skip out on the challenge to watch Survivor that are hardcore.
It's just an own goal, and your hope is that this kicks them enough where like they realize they need to move around a couple things, particularly the time slot in the future.
I hope
I don't
so.
see the survey. Yeah, it says 82,000 people are currently part of the subreddit.
Here, I'll see if I can find it. You chat amongst yourselves.
Do we think that like we've seen Prescilla now? She clearly has a presence about her where she seems to know what was going on. Prior to this episode, like she would get an okay amount of confessionals, but she never had any storyline whatsoever. Do we think she was like doing stuff they just weren't showing it, or what do we think happened there?
I mean, she seemed a little too sharp for like nothing to be going on there. You know what I mean? Like
And like when I did my background on her, she seemed very I was very impressed by her from athletic capabilities and like just educational background. She seemed very intelligent.
All right, I have the poll survey right here. Out of 2,081 votes, 1.3K or 1.33K chose the challenge, and 744 chose Survivor that they would be watching live. So
Probably 30%.
It's about 35-ish%.
Yeah, I mean, what were the ratings like last week? They were like
They were better.
They weren't good, but they weren't as bad as they had been.
Yeah.
We'll see where it goes.
I mean, we thought it was going to be way worse, and instead it upticked from the previous week a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was going to be like a complete bloodbath.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's good. What were we talking about, Rob? You brought
Priscilla.
Yeah,
Because we know she was doing stuff because apparently she hooked up with like I don't know how many people in the bathroom of the house from what Amanda was talking about. So clearly she was up to stuff.
Bettina.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
And then Priscilla, like you said, like it seemed like she had enough presence where she would like know what was going on enough, right?
I agree. Yeah, I don't know. Like I don't know what they're doing. Like I mean, wouldn't it have been much more compelling if Prescilla has been taking this approach the whole time, trying to like go to the other people in the Rookie Alliance and telling them we have to go for a veteran pair, and then that not happening. I think that would have been like much more entertaining. And then Prescilla getting to the point where she goes into elimination herself.
She is screw it, I'll just do it myself, and then yeah.
Like how much better would that have been?
It would have seemed to be an improvement. Like maybe it's just that we're more focused on the strategic happenings than other people are, and they would prefer to hear about them pumping up Emmy's new single before it comes out. But
oh god,
holy, dude, like if
did you have to bring that up,
dude? I don't believe that there's people that are into that, like over what we just described. I don't think there really are.
I think you're speaking for a very myopic viewpoint.
No, I don't think so, dude. Like it's just
clearly the producers of the show are more in favor of that.
I mean, quite honestly, I can't believe I'm saying this. I think there are more people into that than we think there are, because a lot of the demographic of the show is the teenager to 24 market, and that generation is very much into TikTok and Spotify.
I mean, that is my age bracket, right?
I know.
So you're taking shots at me here.
Well, you're not. You're part of that generation, but you don't talk like someone from that. That's why
I'm always when I'm talking to you, Trace. Who knows what I'm doing when I'm not on these shows?
Yeah, it's okay. Fair enough, but you don't present yourself as your average Zoomer. I'll put it that way.
I'm not eating Tide Pods while we're on the show.
No,
dude. How ridiculous was it at the nomination when Jeremiah talks about how it's his time to go in and he wants to go in and prove himself, and then they just flash towards CT and he's like, "Thank God."
Makes CT's life.
Why are they like so? Why are they so scared? Like one of these rookies is going to come back with a vengeance after CT.
Wait,
I just think CT.
Well, it's just like people are like with him. He seems in particular to like talk about that. I just don't. Maybe I'm just misremembering stuff. But I don't remember many examples of somebody having no beef with somebody, then getting put in directly by them, and then them winning a mission later, and then putting them in. Like it's just there's a lot of moving parts for that to happen.
I mean, we could probably count on one hand the amount of times that's happened.
And that's not only that's assuming that whoever CT puts in not only wins and then goes back in. They have to win. Their partner has to get by, and then they put CT in. Like that's just a lot of stuff to happen.
It's a lot of stuff to happen. I think the biggest one you can imagine is Wes holding a grudge against Darrell for multiple seasons and getting him back on Fresh Meat 2.
Yeah, that's close. Again, it's not within the same season for one, and it's also like Wes is getting put in by like the whole house.
Yeah, but Darrell was one of the people that was very adamant that we throw Wes in every time on Fresh Meat 1. So Wes finally got his revenge on Fresh Meat 2. So
that's about as close as it comes. I wouldn't be that scared if I was them. Like
I just think CT's game is like I just don't want to say anybody's name. Period. If I don't.
Like, it goes back to Devin's point. Why did he win?
I don't get it, dude. Like, it makes no sense to me at all.
He really just must have been worried that Burnham was going to win and then take him again, right?
Yeah, probably.
That's really what I would have think it would have been.
But like, wait, when did he compete? Was he the second?
He was in the final
third.
So at that point, he knows that Burnham's not going to win because they.
No, I'm saying win the elimination and then take him back as a partner.
Oh. It's not worth it. Like for me, it's not worth it though to like go through all that because like how much better is Emmy than Berna as a partner? You know, like
he really seemed to not want Berna as a partner. She must have just been up to stuff that his group was not in favor of. And Emmy seems very willing to just follow along with whatever the vets want to do.
So do you think that's a good move though? Do you think it's so like I know that you're just like thinking through like the thought process of like what he may have been thinking. Do you think it's worth him to do that?
I mean, it's hard to say because I don't know how bad Berna's standing was and how good Emmy's was. Like, I mean, Amber was willing to put herself in to take Berna out.
But think about all that has to happen. So, like, Berna then has to win elimination.
Well, you know, she's going in
with Huey. You know, like, what are her real odds to like be able to win this?
I mean, 30%.
And then, like, you really think that she's going to take?
I think she would have taken it. You don't think she wants to stick it to Emmy when she wins the elimination?
As opposed to Nelson?
Yeah, for sure. I think she would have taken CT just to stick it to Emmy.
It just doesn't, for me, it doesn't seem like it's worth it. Like, it doesn't seem like it's worth it at all.
I can see both sides of it. It's just, he really seems to like, because remember, he was really he was really happy to get picked by Big T at the beginning of last season. And it did seem like that worked for him for the most part to kind of just skate by things and stay more outside of the scope of what was going on. So he likes having the partner who is just kind of more happy-go-lucky, willing to go along with things, isn't causing mischief.
Mm-hmm.
If he wins this season, will you be of the belief that no one on the show knows what they're doing?
I mean, how does he win?
What do you like? I mean, who can beat him in elimination right now?
No, how does he win? Is in terms of like, if CT's able to just waltz to the final again, yeah, I'd be very curious about what's going on.
Yeah.
Like if CT goes rest this season, and unless if he goes on some mission run, is never like put into elimination. Then yeah.
So the thing is though that even if he goes on a mission run, that's still their fault. They just had they had 9 episodes to get rid of him.
No, I can see why they held off their guns. Like the odds are very slim on him actually doing that.
On him doing what?
A mission run like that, just winning all the rest of these missions.
I know, that's what I mean, though. Still, so now is their chance. You know, they still have a chance now. And if they don't do it, like, what are they doing?
I can't wrap my head around them not just putting him in consistently.
I know, that's what I'm saying, though. I think they should, but I don't think they will. You know,
I don't think they will either.
Why?
Because they're morons. No.
but they were able to keep this Veterans Alliance together at least.
Because Nelson is the mastermind. That's why.
I think Nelson has a lot more going on than you people give him credit for.
I don't.
Well, we have to wait till it gets down to the nitty gritty first.
Exactly. Yeah. When Nelson emerges the champion, then
what round did he say that?
It was near the end of the season at some point.
We got to figure out.
Yeah, it was in Final Reckoning because it was when Shane started dying laughing and Nelson didn't get why.
Yeah.
We got to figure out what round it is, and like every season, it can be nitty gritty.
The nitty gritty.
That's a pretty good episode. That's a pretty good idea.
No, I here's the thing. Your best chance to get rid of CT was to match him up with Fessy. So you have to blindside.
If he was in elimination this week, how do you think he does?
CT
Yeah.
versus in this specific one, I think it's pretty close. Like, I think they probably lose.
I mean, he's a bigger dude. It's probably I like having a big size difference between you and your partner for this one is probably a big problem. Like, I think Prescilla seems very tall, and I mean Jeremiah does too.
No, I think there was a bigger difference in height between Jeremiah and Prescilla than there was between.
I think bigger difference in size though.
In height, which is
I know in size. I'm saying overall.
Why does size really matter? Except for the fact that if you're like a bigger person, it's going to be more difficult for you to go up.
Yeah, and then I'd say Huey's also got a particular size in a particular area got really in the way.
I think that I would have bet on Prescilla and Jeremiah to beat CT.
If he's with Emmy, let's just say.
I think Prescilla and Jeremiah, that's a tough pair to go in.
It seems like you're gonna be tough out.
Yeah, like that's like a tough elimination group.
I agree.
Like Jeremiah hasn't done a ton so far, but he's at least big. Like, I mean, he's tall, big, athletic, and then Prescilla seems like she's got the brains and had a good athletic background. So they could definitely be a tough go.
Here's the thing, and maybe this is also we should enter into our thought processes. Granted, CT is in much better shape since the last time he was around. When is the last time he's won like a physical elimination? You have to go all the way back to Rivals 1. Every other time he's been in a physical
Invasion.
Okay, Invasion. Yeah, when he beat Darrell in the rope thing. The
you guys count that as physical?
That's pretty. I mean, you have to go around the thing. It's very physical, even if there's a mental aspect.
There's a huge mental aspect to it.
Yeah.
He tied such a crazy knot, Darrell couldn't undo.
And that was how he won it. I mean, I'm more on Trace's side, where I don't even think he's weak. I don't think he's weak at all in eliminations. But like, if you put someone down there, like things just happen.
Yeah, because the last 2 times he's been in a physical elimination, his back went out on him against Jay, and the thing just kind of fell apart. And then the other one people forget about is in War of the Worlds 1, he lost the 3-way elimination that was a physical elimination. So like we haven't really seen him perform one-on-one physically in a long time.
So even though he hasn't, do you still?
I mean, I still don't want to go. I don't want to see him down there if I'm on the show.
I want to see him, but I don't think he's like it's like an insurmountable task too. Like if he goes down twice, do you think he's coming out of both?
Depends on what it is.
Depends on what it is.
Well, let's just say CT goes into elimination these next 2 weeks. Do you think he's coming out of that?
That's the thing. If that honestly makes it like even less sense to me why he would want Emmy to be his partner as opposed to like some hypothetical in Bernadette, right? Because like if he thinks that he's in danger of going into starting to have to go into eliminations here, I would much rather have Berna like as my partner than I would Emmy. Like wouldn't
I'm just telling you, like, we just aren't there. It seems like Burnham was burning bridges like crazy.
And I think that's what it was.
I really think that has to be what it was. And Emily seems like, Emily like signs her name in Sriracha to join the Veterans Alliance. Like it's just the two completely different sides of the paradigm.
I mean, the only other thing that we're really not seeing is maybe his alliance with Devin and Kyle is much better than we think it is.
I think that's definitely possible.
I just can't see that happening. I really can't. Because Devin knows he can't win. Devin knows he can't do that. I don't even think Kyle wants that. Does Kyle want to go to the MSC? CT screwed him over all the time last season. I don't think he's deluding himself into thinking he would win.
But again, these people aren't that smart at times.
Lost 3 years.
Like, because remember in War of the Worlds 2, CT throws him in that, and that's how Kyle goes home.
Dude, like what the fuck?
Like I can't buy that that's going to be some really locked in group.
Well, from the trailer we saw at the end of this episode, it sounds like Devin is very much on the bandwagon of we've got to get rid of some of these heavy hitters now that the truce is over. I mean, there's no way this thing...
And who even is that?
Say what?
Who even is that the quote-unquote heavy hitters?
You've got to say it's CT, Nelson, and Corey at this point if you're Devin.
It's not Nelson and Corey. I'm sorry. I love Nelson, but there's no way the public perception of Nelson is that he's going to be in that group.
Here's the thing, okay? If you're Devin, you have to think about this from Devin's perspective. If I'm Devin, Nelson almost won the Invasion final, okay? Let's say that it's Nelson, Devin, and Josh. Devin's really competing against Nelson there. I mean, maybe Josh is better than we think he is. But if you're Devin, you don't want to see Corey, Nelson, and CT in that final. The other
I think they're perfectly fine seeing them compared to anybody else. I think if you see them, if the final is, let's say, Josh, Nelson, and Corey, and the final is puzzles heavy, Devin's in a great spot. None of those guys can like put their 2 blocks together.
But you still got to be able to run from point A to point B.
Yeah, but
And
like
Devin's going to be the
I
slowest.
don't think Devin's really in much of a worse endurance. Like I think he'd be fine.
So I don't know. Thinking about it more, I think it really might be Corey next week because remember that they planted the season or the seed earlier in the season when Devin talked about how he's so tired of Corey being around and he's tired of like the narrative of like Corey and his kid. That could be like kind of
yeah, I could see that. Just the editor's nugget in terms of what happens later. I could see Corey being more on the outside. I think he and Nelson are going to be fine.
I mean, hell,
I remember too. Corey was very much like. I remember when he went in against Devin. Devin went in against Darrell last year. Corey was very much pulling for Darrell, which I was kind of surprised by. But maybe there's just more of a fracture there from when Corey slam dunked Tony's head into the ground and got Devin and him sent home.
All right, let's play the supposing game for just a minute because I think this is an interesting wrench we could also throw into this. How vindictive in the past has Ashley been in irrational decisions she has made?
I don't see that. Where? I don't think she's been vindictive at all.
Okay, I will tend to disagree with you because she can be very emotional.
Well, where?
Emotional decisions. Gosh, maybe.
I really don't think she is because she goes to the end of the final reckoning and Karen Carr on horrible terms. Mm-hmm. Carr boats her in the first episode of the next season, and then World of Worlds 2, they're like locked in alliance together.
Okay, the only reason I'm thinking is she might be so pissed off at Prescilla that she rounds up the votes to throw in Prescilla and Josh.
I could kind of see that happening. It's because she is really upset with her. I don't think that would be more of her being vindictive of. Just trying to set a hard line with the rest of these rookies that if they upset the veterans' plans, they're going to have the target on them.
Yeah, and so you very well should have a matchup where it's Prescilla and Josh against Corey and Bettina.
I think Prescilla is, or I think Josh is too well aligned to go in to be voted.
Yeah, it'd be hard to see that happen to Josh.
I mean, if they're going to blow up the Vet Alliance anyway, how close is Ashley to Josh? If Ashley happens to win the daily,
I think Josh is in a better position than Ashley, to be honest. Like, I think if those two go heads... Like, I think Ashley's in just as much chance of getting thrown in as Corey. I think I'd be most worried for CT, Ashley, and Corey going into next week.
I think Ashley is fair. Because, like, I mean... I don't know. It seems like she's aligned with Amanda. And I don't know. I really think it's going to be Corey. I think that's going to be what's going to happen. I would put...
But the thing is, like, her and Nelson, like, they split up after their Friends with Benefits tenure. Like, that could be a problem.
Yeah, but she's still with Amanda.
Yeah.
Amanda's connected with everyone, it seems like.
I mean, they could say something about Corey and Nelson, though. I mean, Amanda probably will be a bit more forceful in her sway than Nelson would be.
Yeah.
I just, again, like, I think CT's is such the obvious pick. Maybe it's not next week, but I can't see him going through these next couple episodes without getting put in. That would just be crazy to me.
I guess we'll just have to wait and see. I hate to be like that definitive about it, but it really is. Like, I think at this point we just have to see. I think what move is made next week will drive a lot of where this starts to smoke.
Is there any way that there could be another rookie team created from here? There definitely is, right?
There is totally a way it could happen. The rookies just, I mean, it has to be a situation where the vet still's a vet partner forcing two. The vets would have to coordinate if they win who they pick, and it could happen. Yes,
because like it could have even happened tonight, right? If Jeremiah would have taken someone from a veteran pair too, right? And two veterans were taken, wouldn't it?
I think that would have just been there's another veteran pair, but there's no.
I think
rookie
Priscilla's
pair,
move made that impossible at that point.
Yeah. Because she made it so a veteran was loose, and then the only thing would have been if he took a rookie, like unless if that happens, which like I don't think they're that dumb.
No, the only way it could have happened is if somehow if Jeremiah took Casey, and then Prescilla took another male that was connected to a female rookie, and then it would have played together that way. So that's the only way it would have happened is if she took if Jeremiah took Casey.
We haven't talked about this yet. So what do we think about the choices by Jeremiah and Prescilla? What do we think of Priscilla's choice? Do we think...
I think Josh is a good pick because he does seem... So her options in that situation would have been Josh, Devin, and Kyle, right?
Yep.
I think any of the three are fine. I guess it would have been a little bit Devin over Josh, but I think it's kind of like as long as they're both very connected.
Yeah, I think all three of them are connected. All three are good choices. I don't think she could have gone wrong.
Yeah.
So what do we think about Jeremiah picking Tori then?
How connected do we think Tori is? We haven't really brought her name up at all for who could go in next week. But I don't. With Anissa gone, like I don't know if she.
I think Jeremiah realizes his best chance to not get thrown in elimination moving forward is to win daily missions. So
Yeah.
his best bet is to pick who he thinks is the strongest female for daily missions. That's
Because
his
it's
plan.
between him and Emmanuel too for several rookie guys going to be picked.
Yeah. So
Tori is definitely. I think Tori is definitely live to go in. I think that's a good observation.
Yeah.
Because her biggest connection is no longer in the game. Who else?
And after that, like she's friends with Devin, but they've also been like Devin certainly hasn't hesitated to kick her under the bus before.
He's not going to stick his neck out.
No, I can't see that at
they're
all.
friends, but their friendship only goes so far.
Yeah, like I like her and Nani like worked together, but that was only back in World of Worlds 2. They really haven't been that aligned since then. And that would really seem like more of a matter of circumstance than anything.
I mean, quite frankly, I think Tori's biggest ally at this point is probably Josh and Ashley. That's probably who she's closest.
I don't even know if she's that good with Ashley. She and Ashley been pretty opposed, pretty like they haven't been. I mean, her biggest ally right now is probably Emmanuel. To be honest, I don't think he's given her much leeway though.
But he has almost no pull. I mean, he's got Casey as his partner, but aside from that, he ain't making any moves.
Yeah, I think she could, and I've been very like favorable for odds so far, and I still would be, but I think she could be live to go in pretty soon too.
Yeah, I think
Tori.
people overrate Tori's significance in this game, like in every season so far. You know, she had a great showing on Dirty 30, but since then, I mean, she's never even really sniffed a final other than World Worlds 2 where she made it. But aside from that, she's not been like this political giant or
definitely not that. I just think she has a specific skill set that leads to like I think she's as good like just physically like strength. I think she's maybe the strongest girl in the house.
Who would you say?
And then she's also like a pretty good natural athlete. Like and I also think she's been actually pretty decent in finals that she's been in.
You
like
think,
he's like
you think that she's the best physical competitor of the girls in the house?
If there was a hall between all the girls in the house, I'd pick her to win all of them.
I'm just talking about overall competitor. Like overall competitor, who do you think is the best in the house for the girls?
No, I think Casey's a better overall physical competitor. I was just thinking physical Casey.
Okay. No, we're on the same
page. I was thinking in terms of just like a strength headbanger elimination. I think she beats all the girls.
Casey
played football though, and like how much bigger is like I don't even really know who's bigger. Like Tori seems like she's bigger, but like I would be because like I remember we looked into this and like Casey was like a lot taller than we thought she was.
Yeah.
No, she is taller than I give her credit, but I think she's just thinner.
Yeah, I mean, I think the more I see of Casey, the more I am classifying her as a female bananas without the scheming. Like, she's not, like, awesome at any one thing, but she's not terrible at any one thing either.
I don't know. I think, dude, she's really set up good here. She's got a lot of good relationships, especially now that the Big Brother Alliance has come back together with Josh and Ruby.
And she's got Nani.
Like, yeah, and, like, Nani's connected with the rest of the women.
And you know Nani's connected with her partner too. Like her partner, Logan, we've not heard 3 words from that dude this whole season.
Wow, yeah, he only had one confession. And we didn't even talk about him. He's another rookie guy who could go in. I completely forgot about him.
You know what? I keep forgetting he's there because he gets no airtime. Like he gets.
Man, with these rookies, it really is crazy. Like this episode, all of a sudden, Prescilla and Jeremiah are getting airtime. It's like, whoa, what's going to happen at the end of this one?
Yeah, because Logan hasn't even gone in yet either, has he?
No, he went in and beat Gobble.
He went in. Okay, so like, I mean that's a wild card that I didn't even consider.
Completely forgot about him. Wow.
Man, if Prescilla chooses a different partner, Jeremiah could have chosen Casey or Nani and made a rookie pair. So there's still some options.
You'd have to be real. They're not that dumb, right?
Well, Prescilla is not that dumb. Well, it
no,
also helped that Tori and Ashley.
Priscilla's my hero.
It really is. We need. I was thinking about getting a Drew Lock poster to put on the wall behind me while we did shows. We might have to switch to a Prescilla one now, at least for these next couple of weeks.
I will laugh my balls off, Rob, if you show up in a Drew Lock jersey one week.
If I send you a Drew Lock jersey, Devin, would you wear it?
You could probably get it on eBay for like $3 right now.
We'd burn it live on the podcast. I wanted to get you that Drew Lock Missouri jersey.
I don't even know.
Here, I'm actually curious. We're off the rails. I'm going to see how much is a Drew Lock jersey.
Dude, you could get one on offer up for I bet like $20.
If all the girls in the house ran a final right now, who do you think would win?
That's a good question. I think Ashley, Amanda, Casey, those are the contenders.
Not Tori.
No, I take
Why?
those three.
I can hook you
Because
up with
she
a
doesn't
Drew
seem to
Lock
have the
jersey for
endurance.
$25.
She's been pretty good running in finals before.
She seems like she's not in as good of like endurance shape this season.
I don't think so.
You agree with me?
No, I don't think so. Like I think I think she'd be fine.
Dude, like have you just seen what she looks like physically? She doesn't seem like she's in good of endurance shape.
I'm not comfortable projecting that. Like I just don't. I think that you're just really like hypothesizing versus the results we've had so far.
No, dude, that's insane. Like
I just don't think that she's shown anything to be below that tier.
like she's not as good in puzzles as the rest of them.
That's her big hole. That is.
Like I just think all around, like those two different components, the two main components of the finals. Like I don't think she's as good as the rest of that group.
Yeah, her in puzzles is weird. I maybe sure that kills her. I just actually been pretty impressed with her in finals before, and I think in terms of like carrying stuff and moving it around, which is also a decent part of some finals. I think she's better than all the rest of them at that. Maybe it is just the puzzles killer.
Yeah. Okay. Do we want to start moving into power rankings?
Yeah, we can do that real quick.
Well, hold on. Let's do this real quick. Let's do some quick math. So we have 6 more pairs that we would need to trim down to before a final for us to leave ourselves with 4 pairs, right?
Okay.
6 more pairs. How many episodes do we have left? So we have 9 minus
You have 19 minus
so we have
8.
10 minus 2 for the finals, so we have 8.
Yeah.
What are they going to do for those 2 weeks?
Probably individual eliminations.
Whatever.
I mean, they could do.
They could stretch 2 episodes.
They could do 6 in the final. I really haven't done that in a while, but they could always go back to that.
So I wouldn't be opposed to that. I would be in favor of that. I think.
There's that. They could just chalk on individuals. We could have some more cliffhangers. I know Devin's favorite option.
I think you're going to get more cliffhangers, personally.
I think that's definitely on the table.
Cliffhangers? Like no one enjoys cliffhangers.
The producers, so they can get more episodes out of this season.
Yeah, the people that get paid for it.
Yeah, people get run more commercials. That's really what it is.
All right, let's do power rankings.
Okay.
Where are we?
Oh, we didn't even bring up Amber B for who to run a final too, Devin. I know she can't do puzzles, but she definitely seems like she could run.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
And I think we just don't like. She's just probably not going to get there because of her circumstances. But she seems like she's got the capabilities.
I have
to
a
do
feeling
too.
if there is a woman that's going to get thrown in repeatedly, it's going to be Amber B.
Like I would put her under that tier, but I would probably put her in line with Tori.
Okay.
To be honest, like I think she's probably like right there.
Because why do you have Amanda so locked in there? It's funny. I feel like you and I have almost flipped on Amanda since the start of the season.
Locked in for her to make it, or for her to?
No, just that she's with Ashley and Casey at the top of that group.
Like just like puzzle ability, isn't she really good at puzzles?
She is very good at puzzles. I think she's probably best of all the girls, maybe best of everybody in the house at puzzles.
I mean, we didn't talk about it, but Ashley crushed it this episode in the puzzle in the mission.
Yeah, she did.
Because they were in last place. Her and Josh were
Yeah,
in last place.
Josh was very incompetent on the water part of this mission.
Like she was like the self-proclaimed puzzle master after they won, wasn't she?
She'd had that title previously, but I think this allowed her to retain it.
But that's what I mean. So like I would say that those two are like elite, right? And they're like good enough when it comes to endurance that I think that they would have to be the favorite. I would almost put Casey. I think that honestly may be what it is. Those two I think would be the favorite, and then like Casey, Tori, and Amber B would be a tier below.
Okay, I could buy that a little bit more. That those would be the top 2. I mean, Amanda, we just haven't seen her have to run that long of a distance before. Ashley, we have. Well, she wasn't in the Final Reckoning.
Weren't there any things in Final Reckoning where they had to go?
No, it was Final Reckoning.
What am I?
They didn't even have a mini Final Reckoning. Really,
we've never seen her have to do anything like long distance.
Well, that's what I'm like. The closest, no, because she didn't do that elimination. I mean, really, no. Like, let's see. In War of the Worlds 1, she has like the tires running thing where she's paired with Josh, who's terrible. Like, so there really isn't. Like, I'd love to go back and look at it, but I'm trying to think through my head now of where it could be from. But I don't think she hasn't had to run that much.
All right, Trace, you're up.
All right. I don't know that mine's changing from last week, but I mean, as I see it right now, I'm going to go CT Nelson. Gosh, I'm going to say CT Nelson Devin. And then for the women, I'm still pretty locked in on Amanda Ashley Casey at this point. And then overall, Amanda CT Nelson.
Say it again. Amanda Nelson CT.
Yeah. No, Amanda
No,
CT Nelson.
yeah, I mean,
What?
I mean, I know we haven't really
Say it
discussed
again?
this a
Hold
whole
on.
lot.
Amanda CT Nelson is what he
Okay.
said.
Amanda CT Nelson. It's so bizarre to me because like I don't think we've seen this in a couple seasons. Like it feels like Amanda's untouchable right now. Like there's just
Yeah.
not even a whisper that this girl is going to go in. Like
Well, we haven't seen me whisper any of these vets are going to go.
Yeah,
We haven't had to yet.
I
but
agree.
of like of the people, unless she just has one of those epic meltdown nights where she just loses her mind and everybody gets pissed off. I mean, I just don't. She seems of the women the most connected.
I mean, she's usually pretty good about getting in a good political position.
We have seen whispers though, so that's not necessarily true. And it's funny because the people that we hear whispers about, we almost don't consider them veterans, right? Like
Amber B.
and Big
Yeah.
T, right?
Yeah.
And now
Yeah.
Tori from the preview. But
I mean, look, that's just a preview. That could have been anything.
I mean,
I think
at
I'm
this
fine.
point,
I think it's going to be, if we had to bet, I think it's one of the three that we brought up, right? It's going to be Corey, it's going to be Tori, or it's going to be Ashley. I think
Not CT.
I don't think
I don't
CT's
see
lying.
it
I
yet.
would like bet money on it. Like what could we work out here? Like you think he's
Well,
still
I don't think he's a 50%, but I would think he's. I don't know, would you give me like what 1 to 7 odds that he goes?
what's the implied probability on that?
That's
1
really
divided
high.
by 8. So that means there's a 12% chance that he goes in, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I mean, Rob, that's only like slightly. Why would you do that? That's only like slightly better than like even chance.
Well, I don't know. I'm just guessing things right now.
All right. I mean, yeah, if you want to do it.
Well, so
If you're that, if you really think CT's going in next week, man, I'll take that bet.
No, like Rob, you don't want to do
well,
that.
I'm just thinking through things out loud here. I'll have to.
That's terrible.
I'll run the numbers off air, then we'll get to. I don't know. You always get mad at me for the other odds I put out.
Oh, I'm just saying, like I'm sticking up for you here. This isn't a
Well,
good
why
one.
don't you put out the odds then, Devin?
Devin's like, do you just want to hand me money? Like, is that really what you want to
Because
do here?
there's still a lot of people left. You know what I mean?
No, I know.
All right, let's get through these real quick. We gotta.
We got to get out of here.
Yeah.
All right, so
we're gonna end up finishing the same time that we normally do, and we started like way earlier.
yeah, I know.
Well, I had
Just-
25 minutes of technical issues instead
Seriously.
of Rob for a change, so you know.
So I'll go Nelson, Devin, and Emmanuel for the guys. I'll go Tori, Nani, Casey for the women. I feel a little bit better about I think Amber B. I would have a little bit better than I would have before. And then I think it's funny I'm the lowest on Amanda out of the three of us.
Say the women again.
Tori, Nani, Casey. Then I'll go Nelson, Tori, Nani.
What's the logic behind Tori? I don't get it. Like,
I just think from what we've seen so far, I'd have her in the best. Not in the best political position. I have her in the best spot to win. Maybe I just think she's better in finals than you guys do.
you just think. So you're saying from like the edit that we've seen, you think
that's most of it. Yeah.
Okay. No, I think that's perfectly reasonable.
Yeah.
If you said that, but like if we were just going off of like position in the house, no. But if you're saying
No, I don't even think she's in a great social position right now.
Yeah.
I think she could
No,
be
I
in a
think
couple
that's-
of times.
no, I think that's totally fine. And then overall, who did you have?
I had Nelson, Tori, Nani.
All right, I'm gonna go. For the women, I'm gonna just keep it the same. Amanda, Tori, Casey. For the men, I'm gonna keep it exactly the same. Mid, I'm going to go Nelson, Devin, Kyle. And then overall, I'm going to go Amanda, Tori, Nelson. All right.
Rob.
Me?
Yep.
Oh, you want fantasy stats real quick? Shoot, I was really in the process of updating these, Trace.
For those of you listening, before we got on, I was like, hey, we haven't updated people on who's of the three of us from our draft, how we're doing in fantasy. And so I thought these numbers were going to be ready. So.
We're on a lot of different types of fantasy content real quick. I'll roll through these real quick. So the top, what's that?
Rob's like the student in school who just got like called on by the teacher.
Yeah, I thought with the technical difficulties, he would have scratched us for next week. So we've got the overall like leaders. Fessie's like got the most points by far of anybody in the house. Then Josh, Huey, and Tori. I don't have exact numbers, Trace, because I'm literally in the process of uploading them right now. So
Sure.
the system has them.
I mean,
moving.
where were we as of last week? Do you know?
I didn't have ours put in for our team yet, but
Okay.
Let's just
we're all pro.
We'll do this next time.
Yeah, we'll get it next time.
All right. So
obviously,
thank you for everyone for all the new patrons that we had signed up. We mentioned it at the top of the show, but we had a bunch join after we sent out all those previews. So thank you for joining. What else do we have to say?
You can still get your shirt off my back shirt at bigdubdiesel.com along with the rest of our merch. Thanks for the people that have bought. It's appreciated. We don't get a whole lot from those, but it's just fun to see those get bought and see them circulating. So thanks a lot to those of you that have bought.
If we get 5 5-star Apple Podcast reviews with comments between now and the next recap episode, Rob will sing "America the Beautiful" live.
I am not adhering to any. Devin can make his own promises if he chooses to.
So if we get 5, you get to hear it. I don't know if that's an incentive or a disincentive, but please.
That might make people not do it, but who knows?
Yeah, we would greatly appreciate those. That helps people find the show and just keeps everything going in the right direction. So thank you for listening. If you're a patron, we'll talk to you again later this week. If you're not a patron, we'll talk to you again same time next week.
Oh, hey, if you're not a patron yet and you are on the fence, we recently did episode 1 and 2 of The Ruins as the Chronicle, and this Sunday we're doing episodes 3 and 4. So if you are really all about The Ruins and you're on the fence about being a patron, this is a good time to join.
Indeed.
Check in on The Ruins.
All right. Thanks for listening, everyone. Have a good week.